My number one band or musician of all time, I would say Michael Jackson. I'm a big fan of him. I'm sad I never got to go to one of his concerts or anything because I see a lot of the videos from those and they look amazing. He had so much energy, it's awesome. The first CD I bought, different era. I download my songs on Spotify. My favorite movie? My favorite movie is Shawshank Redemption. It's quite an old film, but it's a really cool story and I really enjoyed watching it. So my favorite TV series is Breaking Bad. I've watched it 3 times now in about 3 years, so I'm due another rewatch soon. Yeah, it's really, really cool and I enjoyed basically every episode. They were all really good. Another one, honorable mention, is Prison Break. I really like Prison Break. Favorite game? This is embarrassing. I like playing Fortnite. Played with my brother. I actually streamed it quite recently with Arthur as well. The last thing I watched. What did I watch most recently? Let me check. Oh, I watched La La Land. It's a rom-com. My first car was a BMW. I still have it now. I still have my first car. Right now it's in Italy, so it's a right-hand drive car from the UK in Italy, which is a bit of a pain, but I have like an emotional attachment to that car. My all-time dream car, that's a really good question. I would say an F40, Ferrari F40. It's achievable, I would say, hopefully, if I'm successful. And if I ever get in a position to buy one, I would definitely do that. My dream 3-car garage. My daily would be an Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. It's a mega car. It looks amazing. A classic, I would have a 250 GTO or an F40, whichever one. More likely to be an F40, to be honest. And my modern car would be the new Puro Sangue, the 4x4 Ferrari. McLaren P1, Porsche 918, or La Ferrari. It's obvious, La Ferrari. It's the best out of the 3. Which of the Ferrari Big 5 would you have? A 288 GTO, an F40, F50, an Enzo, or La Ferrari? I would say an F40. Maybe it's not the most performance car, but I think it's the most beautiful. And yeah, I love that car. Whenever I see it, I get goosebumps. Which of the lightweight V8s would you have? A 360 Challenged Stradale, 430 Scuderia, 458 Speciale, or 488 Pista? The 488 Pista, I think, is one of the most beautiful cars Ferrari has ever made. Even now, it looks so modern and perfect. By the same token, the 458 Speciale is beautiful as well, and maybe a bit more valuable, but I would take the 488 Pista. Favorite way to unwind after a tough day? When I'm at home, I normally I do gaming with my brother, which is quite funny. But otherwise, when I'm in Italy, my favorite way to unwind is TV show or gaming again. I'm still a kid at heart. Number 1 item on my bucket list. I really want to do a massive road trip, like a huge one, like to Africa or something like this, with my brother. The problem is he's too young to drive and I'm too busy to do it at the moment. So I will do it one day, but we're a couple years away. Best piece of advice I've been given. I normally get bad advice. I tend to overcomplicate things sometimes. Nowadays I'm a lot better, but I remember especially last year and the year before in F3, my boss at the time in the academy was always telling me to keep it simple, and I was always performing better when I kept it simple and didn't overthink things. Most memorable lesson you've learned through failure? Last year there was a lot of failures, and I think I learned a lot about myself, how I react to certain situations and how I perform mentally in some situations, and I think I've, not a particular lesson, but I've just learned about myself and how I am as a person mentally. That's why last year was a huge kind of growth year for me. Do I prefer to dial in oversteer or understeer? It really depends on the track and the car you're driving. Generally, oversteer is a bit of a better characteristic to have. But for example, in a track like Jeddah, where we are right now, it's not fantastic with the walls close. And nowadays, with the tyres we have, it's a bit risky to have oversteer because the tyres overheat quite easily. But generally, I tend to be a bit more of an oversteery driver. Do I have any pre-race rituals? Nothing major. I've tried to kind of keep away from that. I kind of fell into the trap a bit at some stages of my career, but I try not to get superstitious or anything like this. I know a lot of people who are, and it can be a bit unhealthy. So I try to just keep it simple and yeah, not do too many things. Although I am wearing the same trousers yesterday because I put it on pole. So there's a bit of superstition, but I try to keep it as low as possible. Favorite track in the world? I wouldn't say there's one definitive track that's my favorite. Jeddah is amazing, one of my favorites. Silverstone is also awesome. Such a high-speed track. Monaco for the thrill and the location. So there's 3 honorable mentions. Also Imola, that's a really awesome track as well. Lots of history there as well. Biggest inspiration in racing? I would say Michael Schumacher, for the way he brought so much success and motivation to Ferrari. And yeah, I hear a lot of stories about him and the way he motivated the team and brought them, so much happiness and motivation. Yeah, for that reason, he's a big inspiration of mine. My dream Le Mans team. I talk about doing a Le Mans race with my dad and my brother eventually. Although my brother's only 14 and I'm only 18, so we have to wait. The problem is my dad will be too old soon, so we have to rush. But no, I would love to do a Le Mans race with my dad and my brother. Although I think my real dream team would be with the best drivers, with Ayrton Senna, with Michael Schumacher, us 3. That's my dream. My most memorable race so far? I would say as a weekend last year in Baku was a fantastic one. I won every race and I was P1 in every session, so it was a pretty good weekend. I just felt at one with the track and the car, and yeah, it was fantastic, really good experience. My greatest strength in racing? I guess I'm pretty fast. That helped. I guess there's a lot of things that I know I'm strong at, but I would say my main thing is that I can learn quickly, so I feel like I can turn weaknesses into strengths quite easily. What's one thing about racing that would surprise people that don't race? I think they don't understand the physical aspect of racing. They don't understand how difficult it is to race for an hour around Monaco, around Jeddah, around any track basically where you're this close to the walls, and any mistake is very costly. So there's a lot of mental strength that needs to go into a race. And even just driving in itself, they don't understand the physical aspect, how difficult it is. We're performing it at our maximum upper body strength with the neck, with the shoulders, with the core. I think they don't understand how difficult it is. When I was younger in karting, my school friends would be like, making fun of me, telling me it's not a real sport, but it's very difficult, and we put a lot of hours in the gym to be ready. What do I eat on race day? It's really tough because it depends track to track, but I try to keep it light and simple. some grilled chicken or salmon, some rice and some grilled vegetables. It's a perfect meal, makes you full and not too heavy. What's the last song I listened to? Let's have a look. Because I was just in the gym. It's called Oh You Went by Young Thug and Drake. Not my normal song, but yeah, I was on shuffle and that's what came up.